the Democrat from that fine state, of which Mac knows a thing or two about. Let me get your sense then, Senator, what Bill Clinton said. This isn't perfect, but it's the best we can do right now. And fellow Democrats, and here I'm paraphrasing, sir, you'll get a lot worse if you wait till January. What do you think of that?
Well, first of all, Neil, I wish I would have been in the room. I think there could have been a better deal. But, the fact is, this is the deal. And I, for one, am not willing to kind of play Russian roulette with the American economy and let the tax breaks expire and the potential that could have with the financial turmoil that's already in Europe. And, I do think President Clinton was right. The idea that there might be a better deal in January is probably not the case. I think the real question is going to be, can we use this effort to recognize what we're doing? Here is short-term stimulus again for another 2 years, about $900 billion to the deficit. Can we actually show that Congress can walk and chew gum at the same time? So if we're going to pass this next week, as I will be supportive of, can we link it as well to say next year we're going to come back and make those hard choices around real tax reform and deficit reduction? Frankly, I thought the Presidential Commission of last week was a pretty good roadmap. Again, wasn't perfect, but it was better than doing nothing. Because if we don't act on that, at some point, as you know, Neil, the bond market's going to force us to act, and it'll be a lot uglier.
Well, you talk about the bond market. I don't want to bore all my viewers here. I do that pretty comfortably on my own. But Senator, it's interesting you mentioned bonds and interest rates. They've been backing up a lot since this deal was announced. I think typical mortgage rates have backed up anywhere from a quarter to a third of a point, and not exclusively because of this, but the feeling seems to be in the markets that we're spending like drunken sailors again, and this is going to lead to problems again. What do you say?
Well, that's my concern. And, we're going to have to make some hard choices. At the end of the day, this deal was both sides about spending more money in tax cuts or unemployment insurance or other tax credits. We got to recognize that if this country is going to be competitive long term, we got to get our balance sheet in order. And that's going to mean looking at the spending side, looking at the revenue side, looking at tax spending, which we call, basically tax breaks for most of us is in real people speak. And every day and every week that we put that decision off, these choices are going to get a lot harder. So I would hope, and there's a group of us, Democrats, Republicans alike, who've been talking, could we get a vote or could we get something else next week in this bill that says, hey, we're going to do this now, but next year we need to come back and do real tax reform, real deficit reduction.
By definition, then you seem to be saying that you think this thing will pass.
Yeah, listen. When the alternative is, let's go ahead and roll the dice on the American economy and the world economy, that's a pretty bleak prospect.
Okay, Senator Mark Warner, always a pleasure. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Neil.